Hi guys, today's video is all about renting a flat in London and my tips and tricks because I've been living alone for a very long time and I've lived in about 5 or 6 apartments or student accommodations. And so the first and most important thing is to determine the location, where you want to live, and everything else will follow. So think about your priorities in life. If you want to live closer to your work or to your university or to your school, if you're taking like a short course in London and you're coming just for a very short time, how long you would like to travel. Consider how safe is the area, how close to the tube it is. Consider supermarkets around the area as well, because if you are the person that likes to cook, you need to make sure you have at least Tesco, Sainsbury's, or if you live in a nicer area, you'd have Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's. So it's very important, because if you cook a lot and you have nothing around you, it would be very difficult. And if you have just corner shops around you also, it's not very cheap. You can always get delivery in London, it's not a big deal, but in a way, to actually see the ingredients, to smell it, to get it fresh, it's very important. If you don't like to cook and you prefer going out and go for restaurants and stuff like that, it wouldn't matter to you. Also, when it comes to location, you need to think about your lifestyle. If you're into sports, is there a gym around you? Is there a park around you where you can run around and maybe do some outdoor activities, maybe do some yoga in the summer? Because all the things that you do in daily life, things like, I don't know, let's say your work and your studies and your gym and your hobbies like that, you need to make sure you're as close to them as possible, because if these are the regular things you do, you don't want to spend time traveling too much. Especially if you can afford to live close by. If you can't, you need to really prioritize either it's your work or either it's your kind of social activities, because a lot of people I know like to live very close to work, so they don't commute every single day, but then they obviously have to spend much longer to go and see their friends, and other way around, people like to live far away from work, but then on a lazy Sunday or Saturday they just want to kind of go down the street and just see all their friends. So you really need to think about the location. I think that's a very important step. Once you determine the location, or maybe 2 or 3 locations, I would recommend going on Zoopla or prime location if you're looking for short-term rentals. If you're just coming over to London for I don't know, less than 3 months, I would of course recommend Airbnb and Booking.com, because they have a lot of apartments where you can see the pictures, check reviews, and it's pretty straightforward. And even if it is really bad place, you won't have to suffer for a long time. I would recommend to, especially if you work or you're studying, to make sure you have a full day just dedicated for viewings, because it's better to do many viewings in one day rather than have one viewing then another viewing, because this way you have to kind of call in sick to your work or miss some lectures, which you don't want to do. So just make sure you have maybe a day to start with and fill it with appointments all day long. If you pick one area, it will be quite easy, because even if you speak with multiple agencies, at least you can walk around the area and have, let's say, 2 appointments here down the street, and 2 appointments on this road, which is like parallel road or whatever it is. So make sure you fill one day with one area or 2 areas maximum. So you have one area in the morning, one area in the afternoon. And I would recommend looking outside the box. Like, let's say you have a certain budget and you're looking for like a studio flat, you want to live alone. So in my experience, because I've always lived alone, so I either lived in studios or 1 bedrooms, which are not very big. Look at the pictures and decide roughly on the size that you need, but try to experiment with different kind of layouts and styles, seeing new builds and seeing old houses, because basically I think the main aim for the very first day of looking around the flats is just to see what you like, what you feel comfortable with. So if the more variety you see, the better, because if you see, let's say, a converted church flat, you see a new build flat, you see a basement flat, you see a council house flat, you'll get a general idea of like, oh, okay, I definitely like that, or I hate this. So you can just get a general idea of what you want. Security. For me, as I've always lived alone and I'm a girl, I'm very cautious of security. I feel very scared to live in the basement on the ground floor, because here in the UK they don't have any metal bars mostly, so I feel very scared if somebody like knocks on my window or takes a stone from the street and just like throws a rock in my window and breaks it, or just literally breaks in, or any drunk will throw a bottle. So I'm completely paranoid. So my criteria whenever I look for flats is never to live on the ground floor or basement. Another solution to this problem of safety and feeling security is just to look in a place that has a porter, or it has a concierge, or it has a kind of a bigger gated development. So when you open it with a buzzer or with a key, you end up in a communal area in a hallway, and then only then you kind of go through to your flat. So once you have a few viewings arranged, make sure you take a compass to see what side it faces, like if it's north facing or if it's east facing, just in terms of the light, you know. Also, of course, take a notebook and a pencil and pen, or just to make any notes that agent says, because sometimes agents come very unprepared, and they literally give you just kind of blah 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 guidelines, and if you don't want to email them afterwards again with asking all these stupid questions, just take the notes. Some however will come with a brochure. I'll show you, like for example like this, where you will have, you know, pictures of the flat. Normally you would have some kind of layout of the flat. It shows you, like, you know, the plan. Leaflets are very helpful because then you can actually remember what you saw and you can make notes on the leaflet. Of course, consider the price, consider your budget. Things you need to think about is agency's fees. How much you need to pay them, do you need to pay anything extra, deposit, how many weeks deposit is, because sometimes it's only 4 weeks, sometimes it's 8 weeks, which can be quite a lot of money. What are the terms of your cleaning afterwards? Like if you move out, do you have to pay the cleaning fee, or does the agency arrange that? Definitely consider the bills, and while you're viewing the flats, you can ask the agent how much is, you know, the water here, the heating. Sometimes you can even get included something in the rent, like broadband or water or electricity or gas. The more things that included, the better in my experience, because you don't have to, you know, fluff around with paying extra bills, and make sure you pay it on time so you don't get any like bad notifications. In terms of TV license, I would recommend definitely getting it if you are going to watch TV, because a lot of people I know don't buy it, but then they get a knock on the door and they have to pay a big fee. Also, in this country, it's a rule, if you watch TV online, like BBC, iPlayer, or I don't know, Channel 4 catch-ups and stuff like that, you need to get a TV license, and it's not a lot of money, and it's definitely worth investing into, so just you don't get, you know, bad record in this country. While you're viewing the flats, especially if they're older flats, you need to pay attention to the walls, because sometimes you get mold, you know, that kind of fungus on the walls, because this country is very humid, and a lot of times my friends suffered with fungus. And if you don't have asthma, you're not allergic, it can be okay, but it's very dangerous, because mold has this little, you know, spores that you're breathing in, and then it ends up in your lungs, so it's not very nice. So wherever you notice something like black on the windows or on the wall, definitely ask the agents if it's a mold, and it can always be a point of negotiating the price, but definitely make sure that you speak to the agent and you tell them that the landlord has to sort it out, otherwise you won't sign the contract, because it's, you know, it's dangerous to your health. Same comes with the rats, because in the UK, in London, you have mice and rats. I've had actually mice in this flat, which was terrifying. You hear noises, but anyway, then they called pest control. They put all kind of poisons and traps, and it's fine now. But definitely keep in mind that you can have some kind of creatures in your house. If you're viewing the flat and somebody is actually renting there right now, you need to make sure you ask the agent what would the flat come with. Even if they say it's furnished, oh, everything stays, you need to actually specifically ask about every single plate, every single chair, every single thing, because all these things will make a difference. One thing that I always pay attention to, and I haven't paid attention to it in the beginning when I used to rent, is water pressure. It's very important. Make sure when you go into flats you actually open taps and see if it's like a really weak, like, or like a proper water, you know, because it's very important if you like to take showers, if you want to not be shivering in the winter when it's like this teeny tiny whatever drop water. It's very important to check water pressure everywhere. Don't just check in the bathroom, make sure you check it in the kitchen as well, because you don't want to wash your dishes with no water. Also ask about the boiler when it's been replaced, because even though you might not worry about it, like, it works, but you need to make sure the boiler actually passed some certain certification recently, especially if it's a gas boiler, because touch wood, this shit can actually blow up in your face, and you don't want you know, to be threatened by it. And I know a lot of landlords kind of like, ah, that's fine, you know, because they're actually not living there and this is your life, and it's quite dangerous to have a gas boiler not checked regularly. Same, you know, goes with gas pipes. If you have on your oven, you need to make sure they have the latest certificate or the latest checkup. If you saw a flat and you really like it and you want to make an offer, definitely offer a bit less, because I know here people don't like to negotiate and it's like, oh, this is the price, but no, 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 no. You know, like, everybody wants more money, so you always negotiate. And if you like a flat, don't be like super enthusiastic at the viewing. Like, if you're seeing like, okay, this is a nice flat, I want it, be a bit picky. It's like, oh, you know, this carpet, it looks like it's not very new. Oh, the windows are not properly shutting. You know, just be a bit more picky so the agent feels like you want it, but actually you are not stupid and you notice things. You're, you know, aware person, so they can't really rip you off. And especially if there's something big actually wrong with it, or it comes furnished but not with many things, like, I don't know, like just a table with no chairs, you need to make sure you say, oh, then I would need to buy chairs, so the landlord actually realizes that and either provides you chairs or knocks off a bit of rent. And in the end of the day, if you love a flat and you want to discount the price to be able to afford it, but then the agent pushes for the price, you know what, there's so many flats in London, so don't worry about it. Just you need to make sure you consider your wants and needs and the price. Also watch out for any tube vibrations, because sometimes you live close to the station and actually the tube line going under your house, so you can actually feel you know, the vibration in the house. You feel like a constant earthquake. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little tips and tricks. Of course, it's not everything, but if you want me to do another one, ask me or add some of yours.